Welcome to my Q&A video. A while ago on my YouTube, I posted a video saying that I would be hosting a Q&A video soon. I was collecting questions for that on both Twitter and YouTube. And this is that Q&A video. Let's go. Chibi King on YouTube asks, what do you think about 2018 in terms of charts? Are there some non-hit songs from this year that you truly love or hate? I think I echo a lot of the sentiments that my peers have presented about 2018. I'm not very impressed with the charts. I think they're pretty boring. A lot of them don't really seem to matter that much. There's a lot that I do like and want to talk about at the end of the year, but for now I'm actually very discouraged, as you could probably see on the top 20 video I did with Murai Fang. As for non-hit songs that I love or hate, I'm not going to say anything that I hate, because there's none that really come to mind off the top of my head. And as for the ones I love, there's actually a question a little later on that kind of gets into the same thing, so I'm going to save my words on that for later, if you don't mind. Photon51 on YouTube asks, do you watch any anime? If so, what kind and what's your favorite? I'm not a big anime watcher. In fact, I had not really watched any anime at all until this year. At least that could be considered anime. First I got into Agretsuko on Netflix. Great series from the Hello Kitty people, Sanrio. And it's about an office woman who gets verbally abused by her coworkers and boss and takes out her energy by doing death metal karaoke. And so far there's only one season, and it's focused on Retsuko's desires to get out of her work environment and into something that can keep her happy. I'm really excited for the second season because it hit hard in some places. A lot of people say it's very relatable, and they're not wrong. The other anime I got into very recently, actually, is Danganronpa 3. It's a companion piece to the first two Danganronpa games, so those are required viewing in some form before you watch the anime, because otherwise there are going to be a lot of spoilers for you. The games, recently got into them thanks to Lucajin and Wonderful J. Wands. And very violent, very emotional in places, so I can't believe I got into it. I've also heard that I should check out My Hero Academia, which I just found out is on Hulu, so I'll definitely be giving that a listen. Not a listen, a watch. At least at some point. Maybe when I'm done with Seinfeld. Or maybe before that, I don't know. The Guy Who Likes Things on Twitter asks, best song of the year that hasn't charted. I have a couple that I want to talk about. First, Hard Piano by Pusha T and Rick Ross. You might know that they had Pusha T, I should say, had a bit of an album bomb with Daytona. 4 of the songs appeared on it. And I love The Games We Play, as well as If You Know, You Know. And of course Infrared, that's a good song too, but the one with Kanye West, What Would Meek Do, that is one of the lesser tracks on the album. And Hard Piano, one of my favorites. Got a hard-hitting piano melody, as the title would imply, as well as a pretty great verses from both Rick and from Pusha. Great chorus. I think it's the best on the album by a long shot, and that's coming from someone who thinks the album is fantastic already. That, I think, actually got into the Bubbling Under during the week of the album bomb, so technically it did chart, but again, it didn't. And it's fantastic. Other big non-charting song from this year, Body Talks by The Struts featuring Kesha. There is a version without Kesha, but now that the Kesha version exists, just listen to the Kesha version. It's as simple as that. Struts are, of course, known for Kiss This and Could Have Been Me, which I already thought were great songs in their own right, but I think Body Talks really pushes it to another level. Big, strong guitar riffs, great vocals, it's just a wild time. Great chemistry between I don't know who the singer for the Struts is, and Kesha. Like, they just nailed it, and the fact that it's not getting more attention outside of rock radio is kind of a crime, especially because Kesha. Then again, she, unfortunately, might have lost all her time in the limelight after Praying. Great song. Everybody agrees that Praying is great, but it kind of killed her career, along with all the Dr. Luke stuff. I really feel bad for her. Animated Finn on YouTube asks, do you have plans to do another collab top 20 ranked? No. No. No, I don't usually like to announce my collab plans ahead of time because I like there to be a bit of a surprise. Although I will tell you, there's not a top 20 collab that I have in mind. The next one is not going to be a collab. Favorite Disney movie, favorite TV show, asks Tafa Nadir from YouTube. I assume you mean Disney TV show? Because I didn't watch a lot of those. I guess for TV show you could say Gravity Falls, because that was great. Something you could easily have seen, like, something you could envision Cartoon Network having picked up, but they put it on Disney XD instead. Also really into Milo Murphy's Law, or at least I was at one point. It is from the creators of Phineas and Ferb, which admittedly is not a show I watched. Like, it was around when I was a teenager and kind of falling out with child's cartoons. Like at that time where Cartoon Network was putting on stuff like Squirrel Boy and... ugh. As for movies, I mean, if we're not counting Pixar, I guess you could say... I mean, I really like Beauty and the Beast, although that might have been because I was in a high school production for Beauty and the Beast. I was in the ensemble, so it wasn't a big part, but it ruled my life for a lot of months. There was a lot of complicated choreography I had to do. I started to really appreciate the plot and the songs, and live-action remake, I saw that in theaters. Wasn't really impressed by it. It was okay, I guess. It just... the cartoon version still holds up, and it didn't really need an update. So, that's gonna be my answer. Beauty and the Beast. 1993, I think is the year it came out. Maybe 95. I think it came out before I was born. Eric Douglas asks, what is your favorite Drake song? Now, despite the amount of crap I give Drake, I actually do like a handful of his songs. Of course, I like Take Care from Take Care. Forever, that was on my Best of 2009 list, although Eminem does kind of steal his spotlight there. And I really like Nice for What from Scorpion. I think those three are in a very tight race for the title of my favorite Drake song. They're all from completely different spots of his career. Like, Forever was when he was just getting started, and before he had dropped a studio album. I think he might have dropped a mixtape. That shit sounded like an album. Take Care is when he was an established artist and was still experimenting with R&B mixed in with his rapping. And then, of course, Nice for What. Like, I don't know how Nice for What happened in this era of Drake, but I'm glad it did. Definitely expect Nice for What to appear on my best list for this year. Hayden, or actually not Hayden, on Twitter asks, when will you learn that we are simple earthworms wriggling for nutrients? I accepted that a long time ago, and I don't really care anymore. Cobb Critic, aka Kayla on Twitter, asks, do you eat ass? No. What the hell's wrong with you? That's disgusting. Normie with a Life on Twitter asks, favorite album of all time, favorite band / act / singer, favorite song. Favorite album, those are actually all really easy. Favorite album of all time, American Idiot by Green Day. I know all the songs by heart, think it's very epic. Love all the songs to death. Very well put together, very well considered political messages throughout. It's a good song, it's a good album. There's a reason that a good chunk of the community is obsessed with that album. Favorite artist? Silver Sun Pickups. I even made an entire video last year about my favorite Silver Sun Pickups songs, which I think it's gonna be right there. Yeah, that's right there. The tag thing is gonna be there. You should really go see it. Not a lot of people have seen it. It's one of the lowest viewed reviews I've done on this channel, which is a shame. Go watch it. I'll explain why I love Silver Sun Pickups so much in a little more intricate detail than I can give here in a simple Q&A video. My favorite song of all time is Homecoming by Green Day on, of course, American Idiot. It's a 9-minute epic, 5-part thing. It's great. Listen to it. What are some of your favorite albums of 2018 so far? Asks Riddy_PR. I don't know if you probably just go by Riddy. A little hard to say. I guess you could say Daytona by Pusha T, which I talked about a little earlier. It's a short album, and it does suck that it had to be lumped in with the rest of Kanye's failure of a release schedule stream trolling thing. It's easily the best album out of that bunch, with Kids See Ghosts not too far behind. I don't know what the hell Kanye's even doing nowadays. Like, was supposed to release an album on my birthday, didn't happen. I didn't think it would be very good anyway, but still, keep your promises, dude. There's also an album that I was somewhat recommended by Finn to listen to, this, Steakhouse Night at... I can't remember. Some... Prairie Night at the Steakhouse, I think that was it. That was a country album, as you can probably tell. I actually really dug it. Very traditional southern country, and I guess it clicked with me. I ought to listen to it again, actually. Also really liked Shawn Mendes' self-titled album, strangely enough. I didn't click with it the first time, but the second time it hit... I mean, it clicked a lot better, I thought. Even if the writing in places is a bit questionable, I thought it was really good, and definitely an improvement from what I heard from Illuminate. Other than that, really hard to say. I haven't really revisited that many albums that I've listened to throughout 2018, so it's a bit hard for me to make that sort of call on my absolute favorite albums of the year. I'm not a big album listener, I guess you could say. Who is your favorite / least favorite musical artist of all time? Asks Ryan Schmitz on YouTube. I already answered the favorites, the Silver Sun Pickups. As for least favorite, look, I don't really want to quantify my least favorite artists. Like, I think that's a little petty and not really that necessary, because, like, anyone is capable of making good music that could turn the tables and get someone into my good graces. Like, Con the Shadow says, like, usually when he hears one good song from an artist, that even if he hadn't liked them before, suddenly some of the rest of their stuff clicks. I mean, I don't know. Like, the only person I would not feel guilty about saying this about is probably X. And if you've seen some of my videos where I talk about his stuff, you might know why. Brandon Crocker on YouTube asks, what are some of your favorite movies, be they animated or live action, of all time and or of 2018? I'm gonna start with all time. Basically anything Edgar Wright has directed that I've seen. Like the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy of Hot Fuzz. It actually starts with Shaun of the Dead, so never mind. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End. All great movies. The World's End is not quite as good as the other two, but they're all just brilliant British movies, and I think that they all hit the head. They're really funny. They're really over the top. I think they're very clever. And they're all very different from each other, so they're very enjoyable. My favorite of them is Hot Fuzz. And as for the other Edgar Wright production I've seen, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. At the time I was really excited to see it, and it performed poorly in the box office, but since has become a bit of a cult classic, which I think is really cool. Because Michael Cera is just the most adorable human being on the planet, and I just love the plot, love the characters, love the aesthetic. It's very corny, I guess you could say, with the video game references, but I don't know. Panders to me, so whatever. 2018, though, I haven't seen that many movies specifically. Like, the ones I remember seeing, Black Panther, Incredibles 2, Christopher Robin. I don't remember if I've seen any other movies this year. But I liked all those. I liked them all a lot. Christopher Robin was actually probably my favorite because I did grow up with Winnie the Pooh, and I thought that they did a great job of showing what would happen if Christopher Robin grew up and had a family, and all of a sudden found his old friends coming back into his life. I thought it was really well done, really sweet. Go see it. It's a good movie. What's your favorite / least favorite song of all time? I already answered favorite. That's Homecoming by Green Day, and ordinarily I'd say I don't want to pick a least favorite song, but Cheesy Cheese on YouTube asks, favorite YouTuber? Kid Icarus. That's an easy one. I used to say it was a hard question, but I think I can confidently say Kid Icarus at this time. He's a British video game reviewer. He's very random at times, very off the wall in terms of his style of comedy and editing. He has a lot of great insight on games, balanced out with some kind of out there references and jokes, and he's just... I marathon his stuff frequently. He's got a lot of classics throughout the years, even his old cringy stuff, I guess you could say, I still think is kind of brilliant, even if he's not really a fan of that stuff. But he consistently makes great content, is consistently funny. He's my favorite YouTuber, by far. Chris Boxall on YouTube asks, what is your opinion on Get Like Me by David Banner, who is the guy who wrote the worst hit song of 2005, that being Play? Kinda figured I would get asked about that, because that is a song that Ethan mentioned on his Worst of 2008 list, and I did not. Full disclosure, I kinda like the song. I don't know why. I think the melody is catchy. David Banner is tolerable, I guess. The only thing that really sinks the song for me is Chris Brown, who... I think I would much prefer he would have rapped on the song instead of trying to sing. Either that or he would have been relegated to the chorus guy, because giving him a verse where he sings was a mistake. And it sinks the song from what I think would be a 3 down to a 2. I actually am planning on doing a bit of a few videos where I explain why I omitted certain songs from a worst or best list, try to kind of give my take on them, or if my opinion has changed and think they should be on there. I'm probably going to go in order of when I did the years, though, so that'd be 2011, then 2012, then 2016, then 2006, etc. Like, those might take a while to get out, though, because I've got too many ideas for videos. Jesus Christ. I tell you, doing these videos in a bathrobe is just... it's too hot outside. Too hot inside, I should say. Lily on Twitter asks, what do you think of Golurk? He's my favorite Pokemon, for the record. Obviously, he's not mine, but he's still pretty great and I love him. The fact that it's a unique combination of ghost and ground, I think is brilliant. He's got a great design, very ancient appeal. It does suck that one of his abilities is Klutz, but thankfully you don't have to stick with Klutz if you can find the other one. I think it's Iron Fist or something. It's probably got something else. But, he's got a great design. He can learn Fly, meaning you don't need to have a flying type on your team if you're playing one of the Gen 5 games. So, I can see why he's your favorite. He's a great Pokemon, I love him. Disx131, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, asks, what's a song you really like from an album you hate? Easy one, The Way Life Goes from Love is Rage 2. Not a fan of Lil Uzi Vert, as I've made it clear, like I was one of the only people who put EXO Tour Life on their worst list for 2017, which... okay, I actually don't really care that much. But I really liked The Way Life Goes. Even when I first listened to the album, I thought it was clear that it was the best that the album had to offer, and I'm glad that it's gonna get caught between years, I'm not glad about that, but I am glad that it stuck around for quite a while, because in my opinion, it does everything that EXO Tour Life wanted to do so much better. The framing is way better, the beat is better, the performance is more emotional. Like that's a great sample. Don't listen to the Nicki Minaj version though, she adds nothing. Like, she's having a bad year. And it's not one of the worst things she's done, but Jesus Christ, Nicki Minaj has been having a bad year. HydraFlare47 on Twitter asks, what are your thoughts on the 2015 hit known as The Hills? Also, what do you consider the best/worst years for mainstream music? Can I not talk about The Hills, please? Like, you know that I hate it. I don't want to talk about it, at least not yet. Not until the 2015 video. Anyway, best and worst years for mainstream music. Worst, pretty easy, at least from the years that I've listened to. I think 2005 is by far the worst. It's, like I said when I made the video with Matt, a lot of the songs were really uncomfortable to listen to because they seemed more obsessed with sexual imagery than usual. Even compared to 2006, where not a lot of that was present, or not as much of it was present, at least I felt. The hip-hop was pretty bad. There weren't a lot of shining highlights. I think most of the list that we came up with for the best list was rock. So at least there was that shining thing there. At least it had Green Day, and it had Foo Fighters, Gavin DeGraw, Gorillaz. It had... but those gems are few and far between, unfortunately. I actually feel kind of bad for asking Matt to do that year specifically, because when I asked him to do that year, I didn't know how bad the year actually was, so, sorry, dude. I'm really sorry for that. Best, though. I'm honestly having a tough time picking between 2012 and 2015. Like, when I've listened through those year-end lists, it's kind of the opposite than it was for 2005. Like, there's not a lot of songs on those year-end lists that I outright hate. So, I know it's kind of cliche to say that those are some of the best years for music in recent memory, but there's a reason everybody said it. It's kind of true. Yeeper Daddy on Twitter asks, you like jazz? Who doesn't? Here's a multi-part question. Josh on Twitter asks, what languages do you speak? What is your dream job? What's your favorite Pokemon besides Lantern? Kinda cheating with that. You're asking 3 questions. But okay. Languages. I only speak English. I took high school Spanish, and I did pretty well in it, but I didn't retain the information, unfortunately. And I know that my Spanish teacher actually wished that her students would retain the information and become bilingual, but that didn't happen to me, I'm sorry. Dream job? I honestly don't know. Just something I can do math for. Like, the job I have right now, I work with numbers, but there's not a lot of math, so I mean, I guess we'll see. I'm fine with the job I have now, and I don't really have a dream job, per se. Favorite Pokemon besides Lantern, though? I think I would have to say Dunsparce, because Dunsparce is cute. It's a lot of missed potential that I wish Game Freak would see more of, and give it, like, a Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution would definitely do it a lot of favors, and it just make it happen. It's also very cute. And it's one of the main characters in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity. Everybody hates that game. I think that's bullcrap. It has Dunsparce in it. It can't be bad. All I want for my birthday is water. Runaway Void on Twitter asks, should I use Lantern in a playthrough of Pokemon Moon? Yes. Radical Submarine on YouTube asks, do you listen to or know about any bands or artists in your local music scene? No. Not really, though. I think a while I heard this one song on the radio called Holy Wars. It's not the Megadeth song, but, I honestly can't remember the name of the guy who made it, and I'm very sorry that I can't. If I can figure it out, I'll flash it on the screen, but for now, that's all I have. Bananathan03, I think, asks, in which instances are memes harmless or harmful, and should it matter? Most memes are harmless. They only really get harmful if they unironically promote some kind of negative stereotype or are just used for propaganda. The memes are harmless, okay? For the most part. Can be used harmfully, usually aren't. I don't think it's worth really discussing, because it's memes, for God's sake. Hayden on Twitter asks, if there were 2 guys on the moon, and one killed the other with a rock, would that be f***ed up or what? Probably not. It's like, what if one of the guys absolutely had to kill the other guy, because the other guy is gonna kill them? Do you ever consider that? Why is this a saying? I don't understand why this is a saying. Know your meme, please help me. Brian Easter, I think that's supposed to say, on YouTube asks, plans for another country-related video. No. I do want to keep it a bit shut on what my plans are, except I've already talked about what some of my plans are. But, right now, I don't have plans for another country-related video. If the muse strikes me, I might, but right now I don't have that muse. So there. Bob Boblington on YouTube asks, are you mainly a Nintendo fan or a mixture of other platformers? It is mainly Nintendo, yes. I own a Switch, as well as a Wii U, and GameCube, and I recently got a Nintendo 64 and have been building up my collection for that. However, I also do have a PS4, not a PS4, I have a PS3. I actually got it back in 2012, so a bit late to the party, and I let my brother have it for college for a few years, and then he eventually gave it back to me since he had only used it for Netflix, and even at the time had only really gotten it for sports games, which, that's not my jam. Like, I've tried to get him into other games, he always defaults to sports games, it's not my thing, unless it's Mario, I guess. I should be trying to build up a collection for my PS3, and I am interested in a PS4, mainly for Spider-Man, the Spyro Trinity, unless whoever's making it wants to put it on Switch. That would be amazing. And also for Danganronpa V3, because My computer is a Mac, and can't play V3. So I kinda need to get the PS4 version. Either that, or I guess there's a Vita version? Because Danganronpa did start on the PlayStation Portable, I guess. I could get a PlayStation TV, and that would be a lot cheaper. I guess I'll consider that, I don't know. What is your favorite #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 so far this year? We're just limiting it to this year. I'm definitely gonna have to go with Nice for What. Like, I already talked about it earlier in this video. It topped my personal top 20 ranking back when I did it with Kumrai Fang. I think it's by far my favorite, and that is mostly because Drake has taken the #1 spot for over half the year now. And, yeah, Nice for What is the best out of everything that's hit the #1. And, I also really like Perfect. The rest is okay to terrible. Druria Music on Twitter asks, what's a band or bands you can highly recommend to us that you are pretty sure no one else in this community has heard of? None! I don't really seek out obscure music. And even if I did seek out obscure music, there's a good chance that somebody else in the community already knows about them beforehand. Because there's like hundreds of people in the music Twitter community. There's no way that I would be the only one to know about an act. There's just no possibility. Ataif on Twitter asks, have you considered using a pronoun pin? Now this is in regards to me being transgender. I kind of had to look up what he meant, and it is kind of what it sounds like. It's a pin that denotes your gender. I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, right now I'm still very much closeted in real life. I don't think there's anyone in real life that I've actually come out to. I have started buying clothing, but that has been that has been online, I should say, so that I don't have to go through the embarrassment of looking male and shopping for female clothing. I'm too much of a wreck for that. I want to build myself up to actually express myself in that way. It might not be the healthiest option, but that's my nerves for you. Luke on Twitter asks, who do you want for the new Smash, Echo or Original Fighter? We recently got the Isabelle announcement. That's been great. I like that announcement, and she's probably going to be the newcomer that I use the most that's been announced so far. Personal wish list for a newcomer is Bandana D from Kirby. I think he has a lot of potential, could be another cute representative for the series, or just for Smash Bros. In general. Because we have gotten a lot of announcements for these big, scary guys. Like Ridley, King K. Rool, Simon Belmont. Like, the Isabelle announcement was a breath of fresh air because she's a cute character. She's not murderous, she's a dog. And I love her. Of course, Bandana D is a highly requested character, though, and I know the odds of him being included are not very good, and if he's not in, I'm not gonna complain. Like, I'm already impressed with the roster that they've got so far. Just, if they had Bandana D in there, I would love it, but I know I'm not going to be a rabid fan that says, "Wait, I'm not gonna buy the game unless you do that," or harass Sakurai over it. That's stupid. If you do that over characters like Waluigi and Waddle Dee, I do think less of you. That's just how it goes. Ryan X1231 on YouTube asks, what's a song that you really like from an artist that you normally despise? Again, The Way Life Goes, but if I were to pick someone else, I guess Power Glide by Ray Sremmurd. I think I would easily say that. Now, I do say despise, but I guess as of recent, Ray Sremmurd hasn't really annoyed me as much as they did with their first 2 albums. Like, I've listened to their Srem 3, or I don't even know how you pronounce that. I've listened to it. I think it's easily their best project, although it's still not great. Also, I don't mind Sway Lee as much when he's in his R&B mode and when he's providing, like, choruses for other artists, but for a while I just thought they were kind of unbearable, and Power Glide is awesome. I know it takes, like a Juicy J... like, what was the band he was in? It's 3-6 Mafia. They took a beat from 3-6 Mafia, supposedly, I don't know, I haven't heard the original song. They made it great. They made it great. And I'm just happy to have it. It's a banger. Go listen to it. It should have been a hit. Theozone on YouTube asks, will you make a 10 songs you should hate but don't video? I've actually very much been considering that, especially after Finn and Fang made their videos on it, but hasn't really fit into my schedule quite yet. I kind of wanted to wait until I did some more recent years. Like, I still haven't done 2012 to 2015, and next year I will focus on knocking some of those years out, I think, and then maybe I'll do a songs I should hate but don't video, or unpopular opinions video, whatever I want to call it. I don't know, there's a lot I want to get out. Ryan X1231 again asks, favorite Taylor Swift song/album. Style is easily my favorite Taylor Swift song, although Back to December also comes close. And the only two Taylor Swift albums I've heard in full are 1989 and Reputation. 1989 is easily the better one. MCamMan619 on YouTube asks, happy almost birthday. At the point I'm recording this, it has passed. It is September 30th right now. Thank you very much. Can't wait for, okay, I can actually skip that. What are your top 5 favorite video games? I don't know if I have a top 5, necessarily. I can tell you my top 2, though. Super Mario Sunshine. I think it's easily the best 3D Mario game, even despite the jank. I still love the levels, I love the missions. I think it looks great and was a great introduction to the world of console gaming for me. I think it still holds up very well, but could very much use a Switch remake or some sort to fix some of the jank, add more content, get more people to fall in love with it, because that game kind of goes back and forth between being loved by the internet space and hated by the internet space, and we just need to make it definitive. Sunshine was awesome. Nintendo, please make the most awesome version of Sunshine that you can possibly think of. As for my number 2 video game, or maybe it's number 1, I don't know. Punch-Out on the Wii. Big fan of the Punch-Out series, played all of them a lot. The Wii version, I think, is the best one by far because it offers the most content for your buck. The graphics are stunning, at least as stunning as they can be for a Wii game. The characters, so expressive and lively, and like, they're based on stereotypes, yes, but they're lovingly based on stereotypes, and they're very memorable. The combat is very intuitive, mostly if you're playing with just the Wii remote on its side. You can play with the nunchuck with motion controls, and it does work, but you're gonna get tired if you play like that. You should play with the Wii remote on its side. It's very challenging, but very rewarding, especially when you get all those challenge missions underway. I can 100% the game. It's a great time. Definitely a must-own if you have a Wii or Wii U. And you can get it for like $20 on the Wii U eShop. Very much worth your money, because it is a great game. And I really wish that Nintendo would make another Punch-Out game for Switch. The Walrus King on YouTube asks, walruses or seals? Seals. Thought I was going to say walruses? Well, come at me! Jacket K on YouTube asks, what would you say is your biggest inspiration or general inspiration to go more into the direction of music reviews? Well, Tom of the Shadows and Ethan. Tom of the Shadows I discovered in 2014, thought he had some good stuff. I especially loved his year-end videos. He was my introduction to both the Hot 100 and to the concept of music reviews as I know them today. And I thought, okay, sure, I like these videos. And then I found, he was known as a double agent at the time. I don't know if he wants me to say his name or his former YouTube channel. I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, when I saw Ethan started to become somewhat good friends with him, I thought, I could do this. And then I did it, and I made some kind of cringy videos in hindsight. I guess everyone's gonna start somewhere. But the thing about that is that I had actually been making YouTube videos for 7 years. I shouldn't have started the reviews as cringy as I did, but I doubt anyone's gonna hold that against me. So yeah, short answer, Ethan. He made me realize I could probably do it, and I did it. Sam Wise on YouTube asks, what's one song you want to chart or get real big on the Hot 100? Gonna go back to Body Talks. It's got Cash on it, for Pete's sake. Just let her have success again, okay? Like, Dr. Luke, screw you. Actually like a lot of what's on the rock charts right now, and would like to see a lot of stuff come through, so yeah, I was just not broken by Lovely the band. That's something I'm not glad is here. Bryson Dickerson asks, what are your top 3 worst or best songs to hit number 1? 2, what are your thoughts on Chicago, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and Daughtry? Bit of a compound question. I really wish I would have put a cap on how many questions you could ask and just put it at 1. Because this is a lot to go through. Honestly, I don't know about worst or best, like putting together top 3 off the top of my head. I could easily say the worst is
The Hills.
And the best, I'd probably go with Uptown Funk, as well as Smooth. Those are both undeniable classics, even though Uptown Funk in particular has only existed for 4 years now. It's definitely got its place in pop culture. Like, my mom loves it. That's how good it is. And Smooth, of course, all-time classic. Carlos Santana, like, definitive 60s psychedelia band, that might have been 70s as well. Making one of the biggest songs of all time with the lead singer from Matchbox 20. Sounds like it should not work. It works phenomenally. And, spoilers, it's not gonna be on my Best of 2000 list because it is a 1999 song. That's gonna be saved for the Best of 1999 video, just a forewarning there. And I am gonna leave that disclaimer at the beginning of the Best of the 2000 video as well, whenever I make that. As for my thoughts on the bands that you listed, Chicago, when I was introduced to them, I actually knew some of their more energetic stuff like 25 or 6 to 4 and Saturday in the Park. Both great songs. My dad's is a fan of the band. Knows a lot of their songs, I guess. And so when I heard that Todd and the Shadows really hated them, I was initially confused. And then I realized that most of the stuff they make is kind of down-tempo schlock rock. Like, yeah, I can see why he doesn't like them, and I don't like them so much either. I'm just gonna pretend that 25 or 6 to 4 is the only song they wrote and say that I love them, okay? Okay. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, great band. Tom Petty was a legend. And the day that he died was one of the most emotionally just confusing times of my life because he was pronounced dead before he actually did die, which was kind of scary. Had a lot of great classics, kind of defined a lot of what I consider classic rock to be. Songs like Refugee, Mary Jane's Last Dance, Running Down a Dream, American Girl, I Need to Know. He's got a lot of fantastic songs, and anyone who's familiar with classic rock should know at least a handful of them. Definitely deserves to be remembered as one of the greats of his time. As for Daughtry, I'm kind of bored by them. They make the same song over and over again, or at least they did in the late 2000s. I guess I have a couple of okay songs. I really hated their song from 2009, or I think it was 2010, the Life After You song. I really did not like that. But there is one song I really do like that they made, What I Want, which features a guitar solo from Slash of Guns N' Roses. You know, yeah, that Slash. That's a great song. It's a lot heavier than their stuff usually is. Still a little formulaic, but I think it hits a lot harder than their stuff usually does because it's given the time to really flourish and just sound great. So that's my answer on Daughtry. Usually just don't really like that much. And finally, 1 to the O on Twitter asks, what are your passions, hobbies, interests, and goals in life? Goals in life, that's a really pressing question to ask, but I guess it's fitting that I end on it. Right now, my main goal is just be able to sustain myself, transition well. Like, I've kind of been working on that already by ordering the clothes that I'll need. Still not ready to come out to my parents yet, but hopefully we'll do that soonish. I don't know. I know I moved out and they don't really have much authority on me anymore, but it's still kind of nerve-wracking. Passions, hobbies, and interests are all kind of the same thing, though. My main ones you have seen on my YouTube channel, those being music and video games. I make content on both regularly, and they're the reason I'm on YouTube, I guess, on the internet in general. So that's my short answer, I guess. And that's every question that I have. So thanks for submitting questions. I had a lot to go through. My recording is currently at 50 minutes, or almost at 50 minutes, and I'm guessing that the final product is actually going to be kind of long too, at least half an hour. Jeez. So, thanks for watching. Top 20 video is next, and take care.